Okay, good morning once again, and happy new month, and happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month in areas. Yeah, this is deliberate. I try to put together all the presentations I made in 2017 as my takeaway, to the public, to you as an individual and the entire public, as my own Cybersecurity Awareness 2024, um, take home. So today we started with practical approach to combating cyber crimes, and today we're looking at, we started with that, and I tried to explain what all this is all about and how we can practically, combat cyber crimes. And then I talked about the overview of cybersecurity, that's the concept of cybersecurity, what cyber and then cybersecurity entail. And today we're going to look at, remember, I try to bring it up from one step to the other, especially you really need to understand the concepts of cybersecurity for you to actually follow the series, for you to grab the series and understand every bit of what we're doing here. And then today we are looking at how we can on understanding the concepts of cybersecurity, understanding the philosophy of the CIA triad, that's the concept of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now we're going to look at the how you can identify and classify your information assets. It is very, very important. Remember, for you to assure an acceptable level of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your information access, you must first of all understand what you have, you know, understand, identify your assets, because it's when you even understand what you have, if when you understand your capacity and your capability, that you will now understand the kind of protection or the level of protection you need, on each of them. So we're going to look at the concept of identifying and classifying your critical information assets. And I have my quotable quotes here, for you to really, grab what we're talking about, and for you to understand that cybersecurity is not abstracted from the real life scenarios or real life situations. So the degree of value you place on your assets, degree of value you place on a thing, it determines the level of protection you will commit to such thing. The level of value, the value you place in developing yourself as a human being, determines the level of protection, the level of efforts you make to make sure that all that has been invested in you, they derives value. So the degree of value, placing value, some people call it valuation of assets. Even physically, people, try to tie value to what they have, tie value to their property, tie value to their tangible assets. So the same way you tie value to your tangible assets, that's the same way you must tie value to your intangible assets. That's your information asset, your digital assets, because the level of value you tie on each of them, it determines the level of protection you will apply. So in life, generally, you think value before you think security. Value comes first. What value am I getting from this? Oh, if I'm getting 1 billion every year from this, then I should do every bit of what I need to do to get it secured and to get it protected and to make sure it's available at any point in time. you know so the value you attach to anything in life will either motivate you, or demotivate you, for respective, it will demotivate you, to the negative side, or motivate you and inspire you to do more and then to protect more or commit yourself the more. So the driving force or zeal exhibited on securing any asset depends on the value you attach to that asset. So with this in mind, we need to, understand where we're going. And now, like I said earlier, The title of National Cybersecurity Alliance, the theme they gave this year's awareness month is Secure Our World. That was the same thing they did last year, Secure Our World. They didn't say secure our digital world. They didn't say secure our cyber world, to show you that the world has been overtaken with the digitals. This is a digital world, this is an intangible world, this is a cyber world. Now, what do you now understand by asset? When you say asset, you know, anything that is desirable to you is an asset. You know, if what you are doing is adding value, it is an asset. That thing you are doing is an asset. The process around it is an asset. What you are getting out of it is an asset. So the asset we are talking about covers your processes, covers your procedures, covers your blueprints, your standards, and every bit. So anything that is desirable, any item or that is of ownership that you can easily convert to cash, that you can, total resources of a person or a business is your asset, and you don't joke with your asset. You know, it could be that data, that application, that system, that server, that database, your mobile devices, your laptops, your networks, and communication infrastructure, even your goodwill. Your goodwill is your asset. You protect your goodwill, and any valuable, that is anything you tie as valuable to you, or to your firm or to your business, that is an asset, and you protect it. Then the level of value and importance you attach to each asset classifies it as whether it is on a high level or a low level. So that's when criticality comes in. If your asset is so critical that the bottom line of your business depends on that asset. For example, in the bank now, their core banking application is more like their major asset, and they cannot play with it. So every bit of what they need to do to keep it available, every bit of thing what they need to do to make sure it is confidential, is not accessed by unauthorized parties, you know, and it's not altered, at any point in time, they would do it. And all the processes they need to put in place to keep it, running, that is an asset. Every bit of what they do there is an asset, you know. So is an asset is highly valued if it is such that you cannot do without. That's when we talk about business impact analysis. If you cannot do without a particular asset, then the impact of that asset on your business or on you as a person is high. That's when the business impact, they talk about the impact level of your assets. You will need to go the extra mile in securing it from any form of attack or destruction. Okay, now you've understood the concept of identification already, even the concept of classification, because you need to identify that asset first, and then after identifying it, you now need to understand how much value you can apply to that asset. As a work from home mother, you all have your mobile device, you have your computer, you have your television. Now it's for you to, ask yourself, which of these assets can I do without this asset? Which of them can I do without? And when you look at it very well, it looks like you cannot do without your mobile device. You know, if you like me now, my mobile device looks like my most important information asset at the moment, and I don't know about you. So you find out that, what you even see as the most valuable could be very, very, it may not be as expensive as in the market too, but when it's stolen, it's like your access to your entire kingdom. Every bit of what you've got, all your intangible assets, is been exposed, or breached. So you have to, tie value to each of them. So any successful cybersecurity program must begin with identifying your critical information assets. That's the starting point. Once you understand the concept of cybersecurity, then you start with identifying your information assets. In organization, they call it asset inventory. Most organizations will leverage on configuration management database, where you have to store all the hardwares, softwares, the users, accessing each of the computers, everything in a database. you know. So nothing prevents you as an individual or a work from home mother to also build your own asset list, asset inventory. Both tangible and intangible is important. And I'm actually talking about intangible assets, your information assets at the moment. So this could be achieved using impact analysis, risk assessment techniques, that is analyzing how much loss the entity would incur if for any reason the asset is no longer available. So a concept of business impact analysis is a concept of classifying your information assets based on how much impact is adding it's making on to the bottom line of your business. If it's an impact your business an asset your business cannot do without, you have to place it as a critical asset. you know so it's actually your business impact analysis and then risk assessment around each of them. That no Your business impact analysis will help you to classify your assets, to understand which one is a critical asset, which one is a high profile asset, and then which one is not. you know or which one that you don't really need to do too much, to protect. you know and then, but if you ask me, in this era, you have to do all you could do to protect, or assume that every asset you have is critical. It's very, very important, because in this era, the bad guys can leverage on the little things to get the access they want, to get access to the big things. So you try to analyze, run your business impact analysis, and then work around the security controls around each of them. But before you can ascertain that, you must do your business impact analysis first, which would give you a clue of how critical your assets are. And then it's based on that you now run your risk assessment around those assets that you've already classified under the business impact analysis. Your risk assessment is saying this asset that has been classified as critical, what are the risks around it? What are the threats, and the vulnerabilities around it, that could possibly, create a nuisance to the business processes, or that could possibly create a stop that would be a stopper to the business. So you now analyze the risks, and the essence of the risk assessment is to you understand where to place it, whether it's on low risk, high risk, medium risk. Then if it's on high risk, then you work around the treatments, you look for. So the essence of risk assessment is to ascertain the level of protection, the level of control, and then the level of treatment to tie to your critical information assets that you've already gotten, analyzed from the business impact analysis stage. So remember, you identify your information assets, understand what you need. You have a sense of accomplishment when you put all that you have together, understand what you have, and then you don't just understand what you have, you tie value, classify each of them. And then on classifying each of them, leveraging on impact, which one is impactful, which one is generating more money, and which one is really promoting your life and all that. And then you now talk about risk assessment. What are the risks, around those your a critical information assets? So the impact analysis will ascertain a clearer picture in identifying the actual assets, that you really need and that you really need to protect. So now, that what business impact analysis is saying is, oh, I've identified my assets, then to what degree? I've identified them. Yeah, it's one thing to identify to what degree are they, as in what is the impact level? what is the criticality level around my assets. So that's basically the business impact analysis is basically what you do at the asset classification level. So the classification of each asset is determined from the result of the impact analysis done, with the asset owners. It is the asset owners that will understand the value of each asset. And then all stakeholders of the asset, supposedly members of the cybersecurity steering committee, if you're an individual, you are your own stakeholder, you know, you and your family, you and yourself, you and your business team, you should sit down and understand the value. Be sure that the classification around each asset value is the right classification. Because in most cases, when you put an asset that is supposed to be critical, you put it as not critical, is an issue. Because the protection that asset will get could be, the asset that shows that, oh, you don't really need too much protection around this. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, try as much as possible to play a proactive game around all your information assets. You know, assume that all your assets are critical, even though there are most of them that are more critical than others, but perceive everyone as very important. So the classes of value could be critical, it could be high, it could be medium, it could be low, or defined. It depends on how you define it, how your organization chooses to define it, or how can define. You can even say, oh, I can't do without. That could be the level, the level of no, can't do without. So it's all, specific to you. It depends on you as an individual. So what we've discussed in this session is the concept of identification and classification of your information assets, understanding your assets, identifying them, then understanding the value around each of them. Can you do without each of them? And then if any of them fails, what would you be losing? How would it impact the bottom line of your business? Will your business not be affected? Will it be neutral, or your bottom line, or it will collapse your business completely? So based on that, you understand how much you apply your risk assessment, how much apply risk assessment and understand the threats. What are those attributes that could make your bottom line, around these assets to go down, then you work around it. And those treatments you are now applying based on your risk assessment, is now the controls we are talking about. They could be in various ways, but it has to be multi-layered. We will get there. We will get to the level of risk assessment very soon. Yeah, in our next series, we'll be looking at protecting your information assets. So I encourage you to stay tuned. And please remember to share this slide. You'll be doing me a great favor sharing. Share with your organizations, share with your colleagues, share with your friends, share with your families. And believe me, you will always, anyone that listens will have one or two things to grab from here. Thank you and cheers for now. Bye.